Hello guys, Croftus here, and we have lots of great news about Alien Awakening. In the last few weeks, multiple reports and interviews from key figures involved in the franchise, including Ridley Scott, have emerged regarding the next Alien movie, which is likely to be Alien Awakening. Another astonishing reveal comes from recently published extra materials, which not just tell but showcase the return of the engineers and explore what happens to David following the events of Covenant. So let's cover everything we know so far about Alien Awakening. First of all, since Alien Romulus was the highest grossing horror movie in 2024, it's officially confirmed that an Alien sequel is in the works. And although the name of the project is unknown, Ridley Scott's cryptic messages indicate that it can actually be the long-anticipated Alien Awakening that we've all been waiting for since 2017. In fact, there are some reports that the script for Alien Awakening is already written. And in one interview, Ridley told too much about the plot so that this interview was removed from everywhere on the internet. But fortunately, before it happened, I was able to save it, so we'll look at that as well. Following this unexpected release of new materials showcasing the return of the engineers, let's discuss why Alien Awakening is the next project in development. This becomes increasingly likely if we look at recent interviews from Ridley Scott, director of Alien Romulus Fede Alvarez, Michael Fassbender and Catherine Watterson, all of which commented on Alien Awakening last month, November 2024. By analyzing their recent interviews and looking at Ridley Scott's comments about the Alien Awakening plot, it seems like this movie is likely to be the next installment in the franchise. Also, if you're excited about Alien Awakening being the next film, make sure to share this video to help it gain as much attention as possible. So if the studio sees strong demand for this movie from fans, they will definitely take it into consideration. While it might not be the deciding factor, it will certainly be one of the key elements they evaluate when planning the franchise's next step. First of all, Ridley Scott, who launched the Alien series with the original film in 1979, had an interview with The Hollywood Reporter in the beginning of November. Scott revealed that he's developing a new Alien movie. When asked whether the next film would be a sequel to Alien Covenant or Alien Romulus, he indicated a strong preference for continuing the Covenant storyline with Alien Awakening. Covenant is the best one for a sequel because it leaves the girl in the cryopod and David has alien eggs and 2,000 colonists hanging around. It's a perfect beginning. Scott's recent remarks highlight his belief that Alien Covenant offers a perfect setting for sequels, and he actually mentioned in older interviews that he was planning to have 2 or 3 movies after Covenant. Reflecting on the franchise's direction, Scott also expressed regret over not maintaining tighter control over its development. I watched Alien 2, 3 and 4 and realized, oh, you just ran that firmly into the ground. Then I went back with Prometheus and I went back with Covenant. And that was big and ambitious and maybe too intellectual to play as well. It still did 250 million and I still stupidly did not lock it up. So it seems like Scott regrets over not securing ownership of the intellectual property after Covenant, noting that other filmmakers like Steven Spielberg and James Cameron have maintained control over their franchises like Jurassic Park and Avatar. So Scott's desire to continue the narrative he began with Prometheus and Alien Covenant suggests a commitment to concluding that storyline, and the only movie that makes sense is Alien Awakening. In an old 2017 interview, which has mysteriously been removed from everywhere on the internet, Ridley Scott discussed intriguing details about what he planned in Alien Awakening. In this old interview, Scott said that a script for Alien Awakening had already been written. Screenwriter John Logan, who performed extensive rewrites on Alien Covenant, was reported to have finished the script for Alien Awakening all the way back in 2017. Scott hinted that the sequel will delve deeper into the lore of the engineers, and fortunately I was able to save this interview before it was deleted. So when asked about Alien Awakening script, Scott said that they are being written right now.
Plans for more?
Yeah. We're being written now. There will be 3 or 4 different players coming in to investigate. one of which will be the engineers arriving back to find their planet decimated.
Implying that there would actually be multiple Alien movies. He also said that there will be 3 or 4 players who would come in to investigate Planet 4. He mentioned that the engineers would return to seek vengeance after David's devastating actions on their planet. This narrative aligns with the thematic elements of creation and destruction that have been explored in prequel films. So what's the exact story that might unfold?
Where we go next is obvious. We're going to actually go to the planet.
And according to Scott, we'll go to the planet, meaning the actual engineer homeworld. There are several possibilities where the narrative could go, especially with David and the 2,000 colonists under his control. So one potential storyline could see David reaching the true engineer homeworld, and after creating an alien queen and breeding thousands of xenomorphs, he might attempt to destroy the engineer race entirely, or at least wage a war against them. Another possibility is that David's version of the xenomorphs engineered in his own twisted vision would face off against the original xenomorph species once he arrives at the engineer homeworld. This could lead to a massive battle between the 2 xenomorph breeds, a concept explored in some of the comics. Astonishingly, some of these speculations are depicted in the recently released extra materials, which brings us to our next topic. As you probably know, Disney acquired Fox, and Marvel recently released a comic book in which David breeds an army of xenomorphs to destroy all life in the universe, which triggers the return of the engineers. Even though it's a Marvel comic, it feels very much like Alien. So let's explore what happens in this comic, as it might provide some hints about the plot of Alien Awakening movie. The story begins with David aboard the engineer Juggernaut arriving at what seems to be Planet 4. It resembles the scene from Covenant, but we soon discover that David has created 2 more synthetics in his own image, suggesting that it's a different scene from somewhere in the future. David then releases the black goo from the Juggernaut, destroying the population of this planet, another engineer colony just like Planet 4. This suggests a significant jump between the end of Covenant and the beginning of this comic. In this gap, we don't really know what David does to Daniels, but he creates 2 more versions of himself and secures another engineer Juggernaut, because it's likely way more suitable for space travel than his old Covenant ship. The comic then jumps hundreds of years into the future, where David and his clones have destroyed all organic life, fulfilling the mad synthetics goal. Then it takes David 1,000 years to progress and build a machine to access another dimension. This might sound a bit crazy, but an early draft script of Prometheus mentioned that the engineers transcended to another dimension, an idea that was later removed. Once David gains access to the multiverse, he realizes that there are other universes full of life that must also be destroyed, including the Marvel Universe. Then David and his clones travel to the Marvel Universe set in 2045. Once they arrive, David meets Tony Stark, who is now an old man, and proposes a deal to merge Stark Industries with Weyland-Yutani. However, Stark quickly realizes that David is a synthetic, not a human. This revelation enrages David, who violently attacks Stark and warns him that in 16 years his army of xenomorphs will invade Earth. True to his word, the invasion happens. However, Stark uses these 16 years of preparation to build a starship capable of evacuating approximately 15,000 humans to escape Earth before it is completely overrun by xenomorphs. In the real world, the Marvel franchise had been steeply declining in popularity, so its fictional destruction at the hands of xenomorphs feels like a brutally symbolic end. In the end, some of the Avengers fight the xenomorphs as the remnants of humanity flee Earth. But the very last scene of the issue reveals the return of the engineers who have been observing the multiverse. It seems like they have discovered either David or Earth, suggesting that this will be their next destination. The next issue, set to release in April 2025, teases a potential conflict between David and the engineers. The description reads, "The engineers go to war and that the engineers set out to destroy what they made." While I'm excited to know what happens in this comic issue when it comes out, I highly doubt that the events of this comic book are considered canon. However, it aligns with what Ridley Scott has previously stated about the engineers and Alien Awakening. The comic confirms that Planet 4 was an engineer colony and that the engineers are still alive, having not been entirely destroyed by David. It's an interesting concept that the engineers may have transcended to another dimension, remaining oblivious to the events unfolding in the universe where Prometheus takes place, an idea that originally appeared in the early drafts of Prometheus. While I highly doubt that the Alien Awakening movie will follow the storyline presented in this comic book, it's possible that certain elements from it will likely be incorporated. And this comic seems to provide a general sense of the narrative direction the studio intends to pursue with the Alien franchise. But whatever direction the story takes, it's likely to involve David's experiments culminating in the creation of an alien queen, an iconic element in the franchise's lore. It initially appeared that Ridley Scott was sidelined by the studio, which led to Alien Romulus being directed by another filmmaker, Fede Alvarez. However, it now seems that Scott actually has significant influence over what happens in the next Alien movie. Moreover, it's not just him who wants to make Alien Awakening. Alvarez doesn't seem overly eager to make a direct sequel to Romulus, emphasizing instead the importance of finding the right story. While Fede seemed to be focused on his own storyline, his recent comments suggest a broader alignment with Scott's vision. In an interview with Gizmodo in November 2024, Alvarez provided an update on a potential sequel to Romulus, emphasizing the need for a compelling narrative. "We definitely want to do it, the studio wants to do it, I want to do it, but it's not until we find something that we go, okay, that is a movie worth making, that we really embark on it." He also cautioned against creating a sequel merely to capitalize on the success of Alien Romulus. You never want to fall into the mistake of making a sequel just because the first one is a big hit. That's always a recipe for disaster. Alvarez's commitment to meaningful storytelling echoes Scott's approach and suggests that any continuation would need to integrate seamlessly with the existing mythology, potentially connecting his film with the events set up in Alien Covenant. Therefore, the fact that Alvarez isn't necessarily eager to make a sequel to Romulus, emphasizing the importance of finding the right story, suggests that Alien Awakening is even more likely to be the next Alien movie. However, one of the most important elements of Alien Awakening is David. And Michael Fassbender, whose portrayal of David is central to the prequel narrative, has indicated his openness to returning. When asked about reprising his role a few weeks ago, he stated, "I was very lucky to work with Ridley Scott. If he wants to go for another one, I'm always there to work with him. He is a master." Michael Fassbender's involvement would be crucial for Alien Awakening, as his portrayal of David stands out as one of the most compelling villains in recent cinema. He is also the only character who appeared in both Prometheus and Alien Covenant, effectively holding the prequel saga together. Delving deeper into his story as a villain would be even more fascinating, especially with the rising concerns about artificial intelligence in the real world. Combining David's philosophical reflections on life and creation with contemporary AI issues opens up a ton of exciting and thought-provoking possibilities for Alien Awakening, which would be in line with the general philosophical tone of the prequels. Similarly, Katherine Waterston has expressed enthusiasm for returning as Daniels. In her interview with The Playlist, she conveyed excitement about the prospect of Alien Awakening. "That's so overwhelmingly exciting to me that Ridley Scott might do another. I saw a way that Daniels makes it out of there. I always felt with that storyline that she was a budding hero." So Waterston believes her character has more to offer, suggesting that Daniels could evolve into a formidable protagonist confronting David's machinations. And her willingness to reprise the role enhances the feasibility of continuing the story directly from Covenant. Beyond personal statements, there are tangible clues within Alien Romulus that hint at Alien Awakening being the next installment. Notably, the appearance of the black goo from Prometheus and the engineer hybrid creature, the Offspring, at the end of Romulus suggest a direct connection to the prequel narrative. Since Alien Romulus happens after Covenant, the events of the Covenant sequel can be directly connected to Romulus, and there are already a few proofs that David's actions led to the creation of the Romulus lab. The black goo, a powerful and unpredictable mutagen capable of creating diverse life forms, is a key element in David's experiments. By introducing the Offspring, a creature bearing a striking resemblance to the engineers, the studio signals that they are not ready to abandon the engineers' storyline. They could have made the Offspring a xenomorph human hybrid, effectively bearing the engineers' narrative altogether. However, the Offspring's distinct engineer-like features such as pale skin, towering height, black eyes, and other traits strongly suggest that the engineer's lore is far from over and will likely be further explored in future installments. Furthermore, the wolf logo seen on the laboratory door in Alien Romulus connects to a deleted scene from Alien Covenant. In that scene, David refers to the xenomorph as wolf, stating, "It took years, but I finally found my wolf, and now I have my flock of lambs too."
But I finally found my wolf, and now I have my flock of lambs too.
The fact that David referred to the xenomorph as wolf, and a few decades later a wolf symbol appears on the Romulus lab where experiments on xenomorphs were conducted, strongly hints at David's involvement and that part of the David story is still missing. In the same deleted scene, David also sends a transmission to Weyland-Yutani meticulously outlining his xenomorph research, suggesting that David could have been secretly involved in Romulus experiments. From the studio's perspective, it seems that Disney values Ridley Scott's vision and leadership since they are still interested in his opinion about the Alien franchise. In addition, Justin Alvarado Brown, president of Scott Free Productions, highlighted this in the interview with The Hollywood Reporter, saying, "It would make no sense that another movie is made without Ridley and us." Scott Free Productions is Ridley Scott's production company that partnered with Fox to make Prometheus. So the alignment between Scott's creative direction and his production company's strategic goals suggests strong support for Alien Awakening as the next project. It's a natural progression, especially as the film would build on the narrative from Alien Covenant. So when you consider the collective comments from Ridley Scott, Fede Alvarez, Michael Fassbender, and Katherine Waterston, along with the narrative clues in Alien Romulus, the evidence overwhelmingly points to Alien Awakening being the next installment. Scott's desire to conclude the story he began, the actors' readiness to reprise their roles, and the thematic connections across the films all make for a compelling argument. In addition, a finished script probably already exists, and the path forward becomes even clearer. With the success of Alien Romulus, the Alien franchise now stands at a crossroads. Should the studio pursue a sequel to Romulus, a direction that even its director Fede Alvarez doesn't seem particularly eager about? Or should they finally deliver the long-awaited sequel to Alien Covenant, a film that delves deeper into the mysterious engineer mythology, blending horror and philosophical exploration? Both actors, Michael Fassbender and Katherine Waterston, seem to be on board, and as Ridley Scott said himself, it's a perfect beginning. So with such strong indications from these key figures involved in the franchise, it's highly likely that the next chapter of the Alien saga will actually be Alien Awakening. Thank you guys for watching, and if you want Alien Awakening to be the next sequel, share this video so it gets as much attention as possible. Because as I said in the beginning, Disney actively listens to the fandom. For example, in the Star Wars franchise, the intense criticism of The Last Jedi led to significant changes in the next film, The Rise of Skywalker. While these changes couldn't really save the movie, they demonstrated that Disney takes fan feedback into account when shaping the direction of the franchise. It may not be the deciding factor, but it will almost certainly make a difference in the next movie that they make. Also, like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel for more content. My name is Croft and I'll see you in the next video.